Continuing on with the August of 1999 Gamesmaster magazine, let's see what we're in the preview section now. So what we've got is a game called Trick Style. I've got to say it, I've never come across this at all. So let's read on. So Dreamcast previewer Oliver Hurley. Nice name. Data format preview Dreamcast price $39.99 out September. When games were only $39.99. Better times. Triple reversed atomic tombstones, bunny hop special with a flake. If you can do one of those, then chances are you'll be pretty good at this little slider. I have no idea what that reference is about. So let's start reading. Wheels, who needs them? Everything is in the future still will hover. It's the basic fact of life. Wipeout, Star Wars, Racer, Trick Style all go to prove that hovering is the way forward. None of this spacecraft nonsense in Trick Style, though. Instead, it takes the cybernetic route. Once you're on a hoverboard, how much more futuristic can you get? Okay, so there's not much chance in 100 years that they will be going down the shops on a floating skateboard, but don't let that put you off. The difference between this and other skatey, snowboardy, slurry fare is that there's actually a point to doing tricks. The more stunts that you can pull off, the greater your chances of victory. Depending on which trick you perform, your speed will increase, opponents will slow down, or shortcuts will be opened up. Each of the hoverboards is either speed, stunt, or battle based, so you can choose which one best suits your preferred style of play. After all, it's more or less bother with a hover. Nice play with words. So let's see what we've got here. A whole bunch of cunning stunts. The key to Trick Style is performing stunts. There are 40 with different ones, so mastering them all will take dedication. Bit like a YouTube channel then, isn't it? Let's see. Look at me, no hands or feet for that matter. No sense if you ask me. Yeah, man. Actually, the graphics for the Dreamcast weren't too bad. I mean, it's my preferred games console from the late 90s because it had Tomb Raider Chronicles and I think Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, and it was absolutely gorgeous to play. Well, I've only seen videos of it, but I have seen the odd game in CNX now and again. Slide your way into the top. Your goal is to become the Hover Tech Grand Champion, but to go to the Tokyo Sky Dome Grand Final, you'll have to prove yourself in such locals as Cairo, Manhattan, and London. You can really see the influence Wipeout has this of many of today's games, indeed. Trick Style uses the increased power of the Dreamcast to produce some stunning backdrops with no pop-up at all. That's actually quite common. I mean, Dreamcast was way ahead of itself compared to the 64 and 30-bit incarnations of Nintendo and Sony, respectively. Each trick is riddled with bumps and jumps for you gain mucho air. Despite most of the action happening in the Neo Street night, you do get to see some daylight as well. If you really need some practice, head down to the Velodrome skate park where you'll find a half pipe and a stunt bowl. Baggy trousers that expose your arse are optional. The stunt bowl is the place to really defy gravity over your hoverboards. Yo, to the max, man, or something. The streaky lightning effect helps give you this sensation of speed. Don't think its camera will fit this up. So, the developers, Creation Studios, the publishers Acclaim, call 0171 344 5000, players 1 to 4, special features, VMS, other formats, PC. So, it's basically got the visual memory unit was a memory card with a screen on it, essentially. So some games took advantage of it. We was all waiting for like a Alien game where it would be basically like the tracker, although I don't think an Alien game came out on that. The trick suits you, sir. There's no circuit training racing in Trick Style. It's mode-based racing system means each course consists of multiple routes and levels, which means loads of ways to get to the end. With the ability to reach some amazing heights, you can access all areas. With the multi-route system, you get the chance to explore some dark passages. The skater is taking the horizontal route to success. Who said lying down on the job is the way forward? Variety, spice, etc. spread across single and multiplayer games like Florna on a Crusty Knob or Genuous 16 different game modes. In a lounge setting, these skaters risk the seat of their pants to extreme action. Even though the landscapes and boards have changed, it is nice to see that the utility chick still in at all the range. Max out your mini fun. The Pocket Station releases it's now looking unlikely, so Sega VMS unit might well be the best console capability mini gaming source. Complete one of Trickstyle's VMS challenges, say stunts and half pipe, and you'll get a new board for use in the mini game Wicked. Yes, so basically the Pocket Station was a hardware rip-off of the visual memory unit. Although I think I read somewhere that it was probably in the development at the same time. So Sony and Sega roughly had the same idea of essentially sticking a small screen to a memory card. Although if you think playing on a phone or playing on a smaller handheld console is bad, late 90s LCD screens were absolutely rubbish with a passion, unless of course you're talking about the original Game Boy, which obviously was led to the limitations, and that's why it was eventually replaced with the Game Boy Advance. Each board have its own strengths, so choose one to suit your style. Forget you punishing with your feet. You want your board jet powered. That's actually a reference to Back to the Future. Know your highway code. All the environments you trash your way through are interactive, so avoiding moving cars, trains and planes is crucial. As for pedestrians, you will reckon you'll get away with ploughing straight into them. You never know, it might just work. Trick style is an underground movement, but for this lad it's taken too far. It is literally gone underground. With a board strapped to your feet, you can swing your way out of any trouble. As you're the only board in the best, you try to avoid collisions if possible. Crosses down traffic is out to get to you, so keep your toes and your boards as well. So let's have a look at the first impressions. As with just any futuristic racer, you cannot help but immediately draw comparisons between this and the classics, that is Wipeout 2097. So is it better, worse, the same? Well, it's more anything, it's different. I like different. That's the problem with the generation today. They don't know what a different game is. While there's hardly a lack of games set in the futuristic cityscapes, Trickstyle does offer some particularly classy looking environments, and having the opportunity to shed through Cyberpunk's versions of world capitals does hold a certain appeal, especially as you're not tied to a set route but are free to choose your own. Because it's all set in major cities, there are plenty of traffic and helpless passers-by to contend with, so there's an immediate extra depth to the game. The idea that pulling off tricks actually increases your chance of winning is certainly novel. In many respects, the success of the game rests on well this feature works. On the version we played, the controls were far from intuitive and the board was tricky to control, although there is still time for this to be sorted. While the emphasis on pulling off stunt ages, we're attempting to pounce ahead, trying to look flash. Instead, it's better to concentrate initially on making it around the track, worry about the fancy stuff afterwards. So the good cop looks good, loads of routes, and there's actually a purpose to performing tricks. The control system is risky, being fiddly, and can stunt-based racer work. Where is it? It's currently around 85 to 9% done, and there's very little to do other than minor bit of I can't even pronounce it. Brain dead. As soon as we get a reviewable copy, we'll give you the full story on whether or not Trickstar rocks or rolls. As you can tell, things were different in the late 90s. That's a guy with a controller, that's a guy with a games console, and that's how close we were to TVs, because TVs were actually considerably smaller than what they are now. Well, the resolution was not as good. So yeah, And that is the little preview of Trick Style. Once again, thank you very much for watching the video. In the next one, we'll be looking at Soul Fighter. Oh, now we're talking. Much obliged, and please don't call the number that I've just read out. It's probably some old lady with a mobile, with a landline, who probably doesn't get a call every 5 minutes off any of the family members. Thanks for watching, folks.